Miscreant migrants from 2 troubled shelters in Brooklyn have unleashed a wave of ceaseless shoplifting, fights, and other shenanigans in the sleepy Waterside neighborhood, forcing some shops to take drastic steps. Business owners and workers told the Post they've lost business and have been beset by thieves since twin Clinton Hill migrant shelters, one of which saw a deadly, potentially gang-linked shooting over the weekend, went up on Hall and Ryerson Streets and swelled with roughly 4,000 people housed there.
Back in my Rite Aid, and there's nothing to steal because this Rite Aid, like so many other Rite Aids, is closing down because everybody stole everything.
When actor and comedian Michael Rapaport posted about shoplifting on the Upper East Side, it drew national attention to a problem many small business owners say is getting out of hand in New York City. Thieves repeatedly stealing store merchandise, some say with little or no consequences.
Shoplifters are unafraid when they come to the stores. They feel it's their right to take whatever they want and just walk out with it.
The Key Food supermarket on Myrtle Avenue has resorted to hiring security for the first time and now requires shoppers to relinquish backpacks upon entering the shop, said front of store manager Henry Fryas. Neighbors argued packing thousands of people in 2 shelters a block apart is a recipe for problems spilling out of fear that shop owners and workers who spoke with the Post on Wednesday made clear is a frustrating reality. Melissa Wood, 41, who works at Storo Management Self-Storage from the Hall Street mega shelter, said the business occupancy has fallen 20% since the site opened because customers are intimidated by migrants when they pull up. The business hired a weekend worker to stand on its loading dock as a way to assure customers that they're safe, according to Wood. Once our customers pull in, some of them don't even come inside, they just leave, she said. We do the sale over the phone, lock them in, but once they arrive and observe the neighborhood, they don't want anything to do with it. They worry they won't be safe and their stuff won't be safe. Those safety fears weren't unfounded, at least for one of Wood's colleagues, she said. One of our staff was attacked because we asked the migrants to get their food off the loading dock, where they were just having a feast, she claimed. Shoplifting has become a daily problem at the Myrtle Avenue deli where Alex Lexon, 40, works. Lexon said he catches 2 or 3 migrants who all wear lanyards showing they're staying at the nearby shelters a day, stealing beer, soda, or candy. Sometimes when they see I'm busy, they get away with stuff, he said. When you check back the footage, you can see they've taken something. They put beers, candy, sodas down their pants, or after they've bought something, they try to put candy in their bag. When Lexon catches the thieves, he said some want to fight.
Jason Ferreira runs 3 Food Town grocery stores in Queens.
When we catch someone shoplifting and we call the police, it's a very slow response and it's very difficult to detain someone because we don't want to have an altercation at the store.
He sent me this security video from his store in Jackson Heights. It shows someone he calls the skirt steak bandit. Here you see this man steal skirt steaks. From this angle, you see the same person walk out of the grocery store without paying. Here's the empty shelf.
They have no shame about it. They know there's no consequence, or they have the perception that there's no consequence.
He and other small business owners want help from city, law enforcement, and elected officials, including a public service campaign against shoplifting. They say retail businesses need help now, especially when it comes to cracking down on repeat offenders.
In a shocking revelation, recent reports indicate that New York City is facing a relentless wave of shoplifting, particularly at Macy's in Midtown Manhattan, where the NYPD is making arrests up to 30 times a day. Footage obtained from citizen journalists reveals alarming incidents where groups of illegal aliens are apprehended with alarming regularity. Police sources have allegedly noted that these individuals have become so emboldened that they greet officers as amigos upon arrival. This surge in criminal activity coincides directly with the Biden administration's handling of immigration, which has led to an influx of hundreds of thousands of illegal immigrants into the Big Apple. With reports suggesting the actual number may exceed 400,000, New Yorkers are increasingly concerned about their safety and the impact on local businesses. The crime reports also include disturbing incidents involving violent offenses, as underscored by recent arrests. A 16-year-old Venezuelan illegal immigrant, for instance, has been linked to multiple robberies across the city, raising questions about the consequences of lax immigration enforcement. Many local police are expressing concerns about an intentional cover-up of the escalating crime wave, suggesting that city officials may not be fully disclosing the risks posed to public safety. Amidst these developments, the urgent need for stricter enforcement of immigration laws has become clear. As Republican leaders call for accountability and reform, citizens are increasingly vocal about their disgust with what they perceive as government neglect regarding public safety. The situation at Macy's exemplifies a larger trend affecting cities across the nation as crime continues to rise in direct correlation with unchecked immigration. With the 2024 elections on the horizon, voters are left to ponder how to restore law and order and prioritize the safety of American citizens in the face of a growing migrant crisis. Shoplifting skyrockets by 24% across us even as most other crimes fall to pre-pandemic levels. Shoplifting has spiked across the country so far this year, even as many major crimes like homicide drop back to pre-pandemic levels, a major national crime study showed. Rates of shoplifting rose an average 24% during the first half of 2024 compared to the same period last year, according to the Council on Criminal Justice's mid-year crime report released Thursday. The study reviewed crime statistics from 23 cities across the U.S., finding shoplifting has steadily been on the rise since the country began emerging from the COVID-19 pandemic around 2022. Rates initially dropped about 15% from 2019 to 2020 and continued down into 2021, then began to climb through 2023, but still remained about 10% lower than the pre-pandemic 2019 level. Following the 24% spike into 2024, however, shoplifting rates now stand about 10% higher than pre-pandemic levels, according to CCJ's findings. Shoplifting has gotten lots of attention in recent years, as alarming videos have spread online showing gangs of hooligans staging brazen smash and grabs where they overwhelm a store and make off with armloads of goods at once. Others show thieves flagrantly snatching merchandise time and time again. The problem has become so prevalent across the country that pharmacies and big box stores have begun locking up their aisles up with barriers to curb thievery, much to the frustration of honest customers. Ernesto Lopez, a senior researcher with CCJ who helped compile the report, noted that a sharp increase could come in part because stores are reporting shoplifting more frequently due to the heavy attention on the problem. Despite the massive surge in shoplifting, many crime categories from 39 cities assessed by CCJ largely settled back to pre-pandemic levels after increases during the pandemic, with homicide notably declining. Homicide rose particularly sharply across 29 cities surveyed by the report during the pandemic, including a historic single-year increase of 30% in 2020 and continued to surge through 2021. Murder rates began to decline by 2022. But as of July 2024, homicide rates are down about 13% from the same period last year and 2% lower than the same period in 2019. Not all cities have seen a drop in murders, and some have continued to see alarming increases, CCJ found. Despite the massive surge in shoplifting, many crime categories from 39 cities assessed by CCJ largely settled back to pre-pandemic levels after increases during the pandemic, with homicide notably declining. Homicide rose particularly sharply across 29 cities surveyed by the report during the pandemic, including a historic single-year increase of 30% in 2020 and continued to surge through 2021. Murder rates began to decline by 2022. But as of July 2024, homicide rates are down about 13% from the same period last year and 2% lower than the same period in 2019. Not all cities have seen a drop in murders, and some have continued to see alarming increases, CCJ found.